Hey everyone, back with another video. So, recording this literally the next day after the third part of June, just because I managed to have this sort of the brainwave of playing this game. So, and luckily managed to get it to install, no problem, and run. Because this particular game, Star Trek Next Generation, Birth of the Federation, a little bit sort of notorious for not working in different Windows environments. So, but for Windows 10, just installed it and installed the patch, and it runs fine. So with other Windows versions, needed to do all sorts of compatibility monkeying around. It seems to work fine for Windows 10 anyway. So this is sort of in keeping with what's turning into a bit of a theme. You can't actually get this game anywhere. Or at least I haven't seen it on any sort of digital downloads, not on Steam or GOG or the EA store or anything like that. So you would need to find discs on eBay or Amazon or any other source that you may have. I have the original discs for this game, bought as part of a bundle. I think it might have been like a MicroProse bundle, I'm not entirely sure. And this game, along with the Star Trek Generations game, tying with the film, and Klingon Honor Guard, which was a first-person shooter using the Unreal Engine, and Star Trek Next Generation, A Final Unity, which is a point-and-click adventure. So I've got the discs for those games as well. So they might be forthcoming videos too. None of those games I've really seen anywhere else. On GOG or Steam or anything like that. Final Unity is really quite good, actually. Klingon Honor Guard is just sort of like a Unreal with Klingon Star Trek skins on it, really. And Generations is just weird. So this game is a turn-based strategy where you control one of 5 empires. You manage your fleet, manage your science and your star systems and various victory conditions, either domination, or you can have elimination, where you have to just sort of eliminate your rivals, or you can have like an allied victories. So this game would have came out probably mid to late 90s, I believe, maybe 97, 98 perhaps, not entirely. I think it was probably towards that sort of end of the 90s, and is very much based on the Next Generation, with a couple of details borrowed from Deep Space Nine. So Star Trek Voyager not on TV at the point that this was made. So there's a couple of like inconsistencies, as we'll probably see as we're playing through it, between the Star Trek shows, but very much heavily based on Next Generation. So all of the alien races that you'll come across are all from Next Generation. There's no Jem'Hadar or changelings, anything that was introduced in Deep Space Nine in this game. Okay, so I'm just gonna start a new game.
Configure game parameters.
Okay, so you've got your Cardassians, Federation, Ferengi, Klingon, and Romulan empires. So this civilization level is basically what level of technology everyone's going to have at the start of the game. So it's all currently set to 2, but if you wanted to, you could change the tech level. So at higher tech levels, you'll get additional colonies, as it says in that tooltip that's appearing. So you could, this is, you set the tech level at this stage, but like the next screen is where you actually pick what emperor you want to play as. So you could, give yourself a bit of a challenge if you wanted to. So the other preferences here, we've got the shape of the galaxy. Make it quite like a spiral shape, but I'll make it a large galaxy. Pardon me. So, as well as colonizing planets, you'll come across the minor races from the TV series. So here you can change the prevalence of the minor races. So I'll default it to many. Last couple of times I've played this game, because I've never really stopped playing this game, to be honest. Always sort of dip into it. This game's really quite good for playing multiplayer on as well. Quite it's quite interesting to play with no minor races. So basically, the only systems that you'll have are ones that you've terraformed and colonized yourself. Whereas if you play with many minor races, depending on how lucky you are, you'd probably only terraform and colonize a couple, and you'd have like an absolute load of minor races. And the minor races can be quite powerful as well. If you're lucky, a minor race system could be like one of your best systems, particularly if you've been giving them money as gifts in order to make them like you a bit better. So we've got random events on, so various nasties, beasties from the TV series can show up, things like the crystalline entity, and the Borg can also show up later on in the game as well. Generally pain in the arse. Typical combat victory conditions. So Vendetta is going against, each empire has got two main enemies, and it says in that tooltip, for more information consult your manual. So I think for the Federation it's something like the Klingons and the Romulans, and for the Ferengi it might be the Federation and the Cardassians or something like that. But I'll just play as Domination just now. Okay.
Select galactic power to control.
So I've turned off the music, by the way, if you're wondering. Just because it's a bit loud. Saves me having to sort of take that into consideration. So there's a couple of things in this game that are quite interesting as far as turn-based strategy is concerned. For one, they've actually made quite a bit of an effort to distinguish between the 5 empires. So we'll see when we get into the game the way that you control your empire. You've got different sort of facets of it. So you've got like your intelligence and your research. So, and then there's the diplomacy side of things as well. So with those things in mind, they've tried to, alter the empires to best fit how they're portrayed in the TV series or films. So starting with the Federation.
The United Federation of Planets.
So they're obviously suited to diplomacy, research and exploration. So as it says in the description here at the side, minor races have more favourable opinion of them than of their rivals. So basically there's pretty much every minor race that you'll come across will instantly like the Federation. So there's a very high chance that they'll expand quite quickly, or they'll get planets. Like if you discover the Vulcans will almost immediately join you. And because the Federation, even though it's called Birth of the Federation, and we know that the Federation is the United Federation of Planets, i.e. Earth, Vulcan, Andoria and others, when this game starts it is just Earth, it's just humans. So the Federation doesn't actually technically exist at the start of this game, if you're going to be sort of pedantic about it. So the Federation are good at diplomacy. The Federation do not like going to war. They don't like invading planets, and sometimes you have to bombard planets to get the defences down. The Federation don't like that. The planets will get unhappy and might even leave the Empire, the Federation.
The Cardassian Union.
So the Cardassians are highly geared towards the intelligence side of things. Obviously from the TV show from Deep Space Nine, you've heard about the Obsidian Order. And it says their Cardassian diplomacy is at best a ruse intended to distract and delay their enemies. Their starships are designed for rigid formation style attacks and often do not perform well alone. So the Federation ships, says at the bottom there, ships are well shielded and designed to function alone as well as in groups. So there's differences in the ships as well. So the Cardassians, probably like the least liked of the empires out of myself and my friends playing this game. It just kind of seemed a bit redundant, given that obviously the Romulans are going to be intelligence based as well with the Tal Shiar.
The Ferengi Alliance.
So the Ferengi are all about money, all about the profit. So they have more trade routes than the other empires. They'll get a lot more money, income than the other empires. Now that's actually really quite handy, because you can spend credits to finish building something a couple of turns earlier, and they've got the money to do it, so they can build things faster. They can also spend a lot more money as gifts towards the minor races in order to try and get them to join them. So the Ferengi can actually be really quite powerful, and their ships are quite decent as well. And because they can just buy ships as well, they can have like a decent sized fleet in no time at all. So quite a popular one actually for playing multiplayer, because obviously like multiplayer turn-based games will take longer. So with a Ferengi you can just buy the stuff.
The Klingon Empire.
So the Klingons are obviously military based, although they don't really have any negatives towards their research. Intelligence wise, probably just have them on security rather than actually trying to do anything with their intelligence services. The benefit the Klingons have are they are the best at invading planets. They've got higher attack value for their troop transports. Their ships are probably best suited to like groups with heavily armed, it says there, but probably not just sort of average hull and shields. They also get cloaked vessels. They don't start off cloaked, I don't think, but eventually you will get cloaked vessels playing as the Klingon Empire. And the ships also cost like half upkeep or something, so you can basically have more ships as the Klingons than anyone else. Yeah.
The Romulan Star Empire.
So the Romulans, or as we kind of, within my group of friends, think of them, easy mode. All the Romulan ships are cloaked from the get-go. Basically what that means is they get a free turn in combat. They get like a free turn before anyone else, if they're cloaked. So if you have enough ships, probably the best tactic in this game when it comes to the combat is to destroy your opponent as quickly as possible. So if you have enough ships and they're cloaked, the Romulans will pretty much destroy anything in the first turn of combat. So if playing against the Romulans, probably best to get rid of them as soon as possible, pretty much. So the Tal Shiar are intelligence service that they're sort of renowned for. So intelligence is a bit strange. You don't give missions or orders or anything like that, but like events just sort of happen. And they'll get a bonus to their intelligence service that way. So I'm just going to choose the
United Federation of Planets.
for this little playthrough, and let's just say accept. Okay, so here we have it. So obviously it sounds a bit strange because there's no music, but there'd be a nice little score playing. There's usually an introduction video to introduce the fact that it's you playing as the Federation, but that doesn't work, I think, if you've got the patch. If you are going to download and play this game, or however you're going to do it, I highly recommend patching it as well, at least to the 1.02 patch, I think it is, that I'm currently using, that solves some of the issues. So we've got our small 3x3 grid. If we just quickly look at the larger map, so that's the whole galaxy there. We've got different overlays. We've got economic overlay, which is for trade routes. You can see here I've got 2 trade routes that are unassigned. Events and just military. So most often probably just have one military there. So obviously we start with the Sol system. So there we've got Earth, Mars, Venus, Mercury, and all the rest of them, all the way up to Pluto. There we go. So each planet has a max population at the bottom left there. So the total population of all the planets in the system make the max population of the system. And the more population you have, the more you can do with them. So planets in the system will have bonuses to energy, food, and may have dilithium present in the system. So I mentioned earlier that this game does actually have a couple of interesting ideas for a real-time space strategy. So one of them being the dilithium requirement. So I've got 1 dilithium from the Sol system plus 1 dilithium, it says up there. that basically means that I can build one ship in a turn, or I can be building one ship in a turn. So if I wanted to have, if I had two systems with a shipyard in each, and I wanted to build ships at the same time, I need to have two dilithium coming in order to do that. So you can no doubt notice as well that there are three lines spreading outward from the Sol system. You've got a green line, a yellow line, and a red line. So that is the effective range that I can explore. So certain ship types have ranges that they can fly out to. So science vessel here can fly all the way out to the red. The colony ship can only go as far as the yellow. So I have to build outposts in order to extend that range and then explore more of the galaxy. So to access the different parts of your empire, right-clicking anywhere will bring up this menu. So this bottom panel just takes you to the options screen, or the main menu. This section, the galaxy section at the top, that is just this view that we're on now. And then to the right and left sides, bottom left, we've got diplomacy, which is the two hands. I'll take you to the diplomacy screen. Top left, that is the science. This is the science screen. Top right is the system view. So currently this is just the Sol system. These arrows at the top would let me click between them, or a drop-down menu if I had more than one system. And then the bottom right is the intelligence agency. Okay, so I'll cover each of those in a second, but what I'm going to show you first of all is a bit of a pro tip here. So if you go back to the main menu and go to options, switch off tooltips. And the reason for that is because mousing over systems and mousing over ships, with the tooltip switched on, you'll just get a description of, oh, this is a science vessel, blah blah blah. With the tooltip switched off, you'll actually get more informative information about the ship or the planet. So whereas before it would just maybe say this is a science vessel, now we can actually see the hit points, the shield strength, and the maintenance cost. Mousing over the star of the Sol system, you can actually see the ground combat strength and the defensive batteries that it has. Okay, so that's a pro tip for you all. Having the tooltip switched on would mean that you'd be unable to see how much attack value the troop transports are. So obviously the troop transports combined attack value has to be greater than that ground combat value, which you wouldn't know if you keep the tooltips on. Right, so if I go into research first of all. So another sort of interesting idea that this game has is the way that it handles the science. So each of your systems, you build laboratories, you assign population to work in that laboratory, you'll get your galactic research points. So at the moment I've got 34 at the start of the game. So you've 6 different fields of science starting at tech level 2. That's based on the starting tech level that I assigned at the start of the game when I was setting up. And you can see that each field of science has got 17% or thereabouts allocated to it. So that is 17% of 34 points. And then there's the progress bar. You can just change that if you want. Whack it all the way up to 100%. That means that all of that 34 points is going out to biotech. Nothing into energy, propulsion, computer construction, or weapons. So if you had it at 17%, like it was, basically what that means is that you'll have one turn where you'll get 6 technologies all at once, because they're all going at the same rate. Or you could just do them one at a time, or maybe just do 2 at a time, depending on what you want, what you need. I prefer doing the technologies one at a time, so I can pick and choose what I need most urgently. Also, I kind of feel like it's a better idea to operate like that when you start getting buildings that add bonuses to your biotech and the different fields, because you can just switch them off and on as you need them. So the internal security, the intelligence section, is pretty much the same. So you've got your intel strength that's generated by buildings, 100% of them currently allocated to internal security. As the other races are discovered, the main empires, that is, they'll appear here, and I can allocate what percentage of my intelligence strength is going to go towards espionage or sabotage of each empire. But obviously that reduces the fact that 100% of my intel strength will be into internal security, which will counteract the other races' attempts at sabotage or espionage. We've also got a report screen and an empire status screen to sort of keep tabs on what everyone's up to. It's a number of minor races, who's strongest economic strength and military, morale and systems health. Little blue dots at the top indicate dilithium. So we go into diplomacy. Basically you just have diplomatic encounters, deals with the major races and the minor races from the screen, which we'll cover when we come to it. So if I have a quick look at the system view. Okay, so it sort of looks perhaps a bit complicated at this point in time. So it's basically on the build list currently when I jump into it. So you can see we've got farms for food, replicators for industry, plasma reactors for energy, data banks for intel, universities for research, and martial law if we needed to boost our morale in some way. So when a planet's not building anything, it automatically constructs trade goods, which just give a bonus to income. So I was talking about maximum population. So the maximum population of a Sol system is 335. It's currently 310. If I go to production, this is where all the population are working at the moment. So on the left hand side here, this is a breakdown of everything that's being produced. 86 credits, plus 47 food, 234 industry, plus 210 energy, 34 research. So you really only need food to cover your maximum population, but that's required for growth. So having more food being produced than 335 is pretty much unnecessary. What does it say there? Growth rate indicates potential, blah blah blah. Yep. So mousing over everything, we'll get more information. So you can change who's assigned, how many populations assigned to each industry. So if I take 2 people off, now you can see that the food's now red because it's not producing enough food to cover the growth, minus 24. If I put 1 population on it, that's plus 12. That means that's only going to be enough to take it to 322 with a 3.1% growth rate every turn. So it's probably best to keep everyone on food at the moment. As the type 2 automated farms get upgraded, they'll produce more food per farm, so I might be able to redistribute population. So we've got quite a lot of energy at the moment, plus 210. So energy is required for special buildings, shipyards. If I go to energy, you can see here our energy is going towards powering the dilithium refinery and also the shipyard. I've currently got a subspace scanner, which is plus 2 scan range. That's not effective range, that just means that I get more information from the systems, the space around Sol system. So there's not really any point switching that on just now. So what I might do is take a couple of people off energy. So we've still got plus 12 energy. It says there minimum energy demand 55, we're producing 67, it's no worries. And I might slap that into research. So already we've tweaked our planet's economy, we're now producing more research, now 85 compared to that 34. So basically the way that this game works, And again, perhaps another pro tip is basically build as many low grade industries and then upgrade them, rather than, it's cheaper to build 20 type 2 master replicators than it is to build 20 type 3. So if you can build the lowest grade first, as many as you want, and then just upgrade them, it just kind of feels a lot more effective and takes less time doing it that way. So when you get a minor race into your empire, it'll be sort of random what they've built on that planet. I think you might have some sort of influence on that, depending on if you've given them money or not, because they use that money to do whatever they want. So you could end up with an amazing planet with, like, 20 type 5 mass replicators, loads of industry, build a shipyard on that planet, get your ships done super quick, things like that. If we go to build list, I'm going to just build a couple more. I like to have sort of 20 mass replicators at the start. Everything else is basically fine. Might build more data banks as and when we need it. But into shipbuilding, you can see the 4 ships that we can build currently. So troop transports for invading planets and also for building outposts and star bases. Science vessels for just exploration. Destroyers, the Miranda class destroyer, and the colony ship. And the colony ship terraforms as well as colonizes. So it needs to have at least one habitable planet in a system in order to colonize it. So again, I quite like to terraform all the planets and then colonize once they're all terraformed. Pardon me. Alright, so back to the main view. So I mentioned earlier that there's a bit of an inconsistency in the idea that it's called Birth of the Federation. It's a bit pedantic, granted, but it's Birth of the Federation, but the Federation is currently just Earth. I just want to quickly show a couple more inconsistencies as far as the lore is concerned. Doesn't mean anything really, just a bit interesting, I think. So in the research section you can look at the tech field database, which will tell you what each level of tech gives you down at the bottom. So again, this is another way of deciding what you want to put your research into it. You can just check to see what you would get if once you research that technology. And then you've also got an object database. So this is basically the same screen, but cycling through buildings and then checking what you need for them. So interesting, details, obviously based from the TV shows and the films. So the every empire is different with what they can build, what their specialities are. But the Federation, when you have Biotech 4, can build the Genesis Research Lab, which gives plus 100% to the biotech research. So this 85, as far as biotech is concerned, will get plus 100% bonus onto it. So each thing you can build has a description. So it's the same description for each type of university, but then obviously the description about the Genesis Research Lab, Daystrom Institute, subatomic simulators when you get to energy. Is it energy 6 or energy 8? So yeah, so the Genesis Research Lab, obviously from the major sort of plot point in Star Trek II Wrath of Khan and Star Trek III Search for Spock. Yep. It recently pointed out to me that Star Trek Nemesis is basically Wrath of Khan remade, but with the Next Generation crew rather than the original series. And then Wrath of Khan is basically Moby Dick in space. But anyway, there you go. So in the energy section, you can build wind turbines, charge collections, development, trade centers, Federation Council. In the defense system, we've got Starfleet shipyards to lithium refineries, which we already have, subspace scanner. We got communication grids, bunker network, and orbital battery for planetary defense. Utopia Planitia, plus 200 shipbuilding. Build special ships, which I've never understood what that means. I've never really seen any sort of special, not that I know of, anyway. And then again, the description of Utopia Planitia in there. I've got Starfleet Academy. So all these things cost energy to maintain. Just switch them off and on as you need. You can also see restrictions at the bottom there. 1 per empire, home system only. Home system only. Genesis needs a barren planet, as you'd expect, given the intent of Genesis in the films. Food, private farms, Federation replicators. So some of these things, particularly the energy, they'll produce. You don't need energy to power your charge collectors, they'll just produce energy. And similar with the wind turbines. But if we have a look at the ships, so for it being the birth of the Federation, as in, these are the first days of the Federation going into space, there's a bit of a non-canonical options when it comes to your ships that you can build. So I'm not sure if this is the case with the other races, but certainly with the Federation, the first ship you can build is this Miranda-class destroyer, which is probably canonical. It certainly looks like I think it's the Reliant or the Defiant from Wrath of Khan. However, the first cruiser, so I'm only 1, 2, 3 techs away at the start of the game from building this ship, this light cruiser. Now this is an Ambassador class cruiser. Now anyone that knows the Trek ship timeline will know that this is the Enterprise C. Okay, so the start of the Federation, we've already got Enterprise C. So there's no Constitution class or Excelsior class, so no Enterprise, original Enterprise, no Enterprise A, no B, straight into Enterprise C with the light cruiser. So that's a bit inconsistent there, but never mind. So we've got different versions, Destroyer Type 1, Destroyer Type 2. So the Destroyer is sort of like a fast response ship. Heavy destroyers, which are going to be quite late into the game. It looks like that's Weapons 5, Propulsion 6, Computer 5. So this is the Constellation class, a la the USS Stargazer, which is Captain Picard's first command. Heavy Escort, which is sort of like the top ship, is the Defiant from Deep Space Nine. Got a Heavy Cruiser, which is the Galaxy X class, which was seen in the last episode of Star Trek Next Generation, which itself is, I guess, non-canonical even within the confines of the TV show. Also got the Light Cruiser and Cruiser 2. Strike Cruiser for bombarding planets is the Nebula class. Command Cruiser is the traditional Galaxy class USS Enterprise NCC 171D. Dreadnought, Sovereign class battleship, so the Enterprise E there. I wonder if this game came out before First Contact. I wonder if this is the first appearance of the Sovereign class battleship. Dreadnought 2, Colony Ship 1, Colony Ship 2, so the Colony Ship 2 is obviously just faster than the Colony Ship at terraforming. Outpost 2, Starbase 2, Troop Transport 2. So the Troop Transport 2, pro tip coming up yet again, I wouldn't bother trying to invade planets until you have a Troop Transport 2. They're just far better. You just need 10 troop transports, and then you'd probably only need 2 troop transport 2s for the same ground combat. So I can't really speak. I'm not going to bother showing each race in detail. I'm just going to go through the game and play a little bit as the Federation. But the Klingons will get their Vorchas and D7 Katingas and Nekvar battle cruisers. The Romulans have got their warbirds of various types. The God knows what the Ferengi ships are called. Cardassians have got things like their Kelvin classes and their Galore class cruisers. So the obviously the Defiant, the heavy escort, is, I don't think any of the other races have an equivalent heavy escort ship. I think they've just got the usual, but I think the heavy escort classes are unique to the Federation. So the Defiant is obviously from Deep Space Nine. The Cardassian Starbase is the same model as Deep Space Nine station, because obviously that's a Cardassian station in the show. So what am I gonna have first? As far as what to pick. I've got class 2. Might go for the construction first so we can get the upgraded replicators. Okay. So I might actually queue up some ships as well, build a couple of troops transports. So I'll take 10 turns for those replicators, and then I'll build some troop transports, which I'm going to use to build outposts. So get my science vessel to check out that planet, and then just click turn.
An alien culture has been discovered.
The Caledonians are disciplined researchers and share our love of knowledge for its own sake.
So there we go, first of many minor races that we discovered. So the Caledonians, I vaguely remember the episode that they're in. You can see here, this is their initial favour, I suppose, with us. So it's slightly more towards the right. If I go to diplomacy, you can see, yeah, they're receptive. So, oh shoot. So, if I click on the Caledonians, I can say friendship, a new peace treaty. I'm not going to bother giving them any credits. Credits just make it more likely that they'll say yes. I'll just send, you can change the tone as well. Doesn't really do anything. I don't think so anyway. But I'll send that friend request to them. And if they say yes, that's fine. We might be able to have a bit of a trade route going on. Oh, there's a wormhole. So, yeah, here we go. So one of the issues with the Federation is that they can actually have minor races join them a bit too quickly, I feel. Because the Caledonians, the minor races start off with, or might start off with, not all of their planets terraformed. Whereas if you give them enough time, they'll terraform them themselves. Whereas otherwise, if the Caledonians were to join me, as they are right now, I would have to use my own colony ship to terraform these planets. So it's one advantage, I suppose, that the other races have, is that a lot of the minor races will be like indifferent or maybe even hostile to them. They can just like spend the money to sort of improve their rating with them, and the computer will sort of use that money to develop the planet, to terraform the planet. So you actually kind of get a planet that's a bit better and a bit less work than would be otherwise if you're playing as like the Romulans, for instance. But we've also discovered a wormhole here, so I could potentially send my science vessel through that wormhole. And if it has an opposite side, because sometimes they don't, then that's a nice little strategic asset that I've got there to get to like the other side of the galaxy. So obviously the universe, the galaxy map in this game isn't divided into quadrants like the TV show. So this game does have, or did have, a as the case may be, a good online presence. There's many mods for this game, from what I could see. Some of them adding the Dominion, other races from Deep Space Nine, maybe Voyager into here as well. So yeah, so in that ship list as well, there was no Intrepid class, there was no Voyagers. There's a definitely prior to Star Trek Voyager, this game. So let's see what happens. Right, so 2 events. You know, what happened to my peace treaty that I sent to the Caledonians. If I go to summary, Federation offer a friendship proposal to Caledonians. So you say, you send the diplomatic proposal, it takes a turn to reach them, and next turn they'll have a reply for me. And I've also built a Type 2 mass replicator on the Sol system. So my ship's detected another planet, another star. Well, I'm going to check out this red giant.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Okay, so there's the Caledonians. Okay, what's up? Sure, what's to do? Yeah, Star Trek. So the Caledonians have accepted that friendship proposal. I can double click on that, take me to the information screen. So they've got to event. This is an ideal arrangement in our present situation. Got a bit of race info here. So the minor races have all got a unique building that you can build. More often than not, it'll boost research. One of the different fields, like a plus, like the Genesis device, a plus 100% in whatever area. So Caledonian think tank, pure research also maybe. Their main preoccupation is with science. So okay, so I was just wondering if there was maybe some sort of indication as to what field the Caledonian think tank would boost. It might be just a straight up boost to them all, or just straight up plus a couple of 100 points into the research. So they're receptive currently. So I could propose more. I could propose an affiliation, which means that we'll share military infrastructure. Membership is obviously them joining the Federation. If I decided I want to do that, you can also gift, send them some credits, or I could declare war. So back to the main screen. What is this? An alien entity. Ah, so that is the Edo Guardian. That's a very early episode of the Next Generation. It's the planet, the sort of idyllic utopian planet that they go on, and then Wesley Crusher falls through a greenhouse and they they sentence him to death. As you know, because there's like no crime on the planet basically. So the Federation get a bit of a better response from minor race ships, because some of them can build ships. They'll have dilithium. The Vulcans, for instance, they'll build their own ships because they've got dilithium. If the Vulcans were to join you while they had ships, those ships would become yours to control as well. So I'm going to move... Oh, Regulus looks alright. I'm going to move my science vessel into that space. It'll come up with an encounter. I can choose to attack or hail. Choosing hail depends on who it is that you're up against. They might just destroy you depending on what race it is and how they feel about you. Or if they also choose hail, you just sort of make contact. Even if they destroyed my science vessel, I'd still make contact with them in some form. But Regulus here looks okay. So mousing over the different planets. That one's 75, 75, 60, then 30. So 75, 75 is 150 plus 60, 210, 240. That's a decent size of population. So basically you want the more population, the better. So you can build more structures, you can have more population working in your research or your intel or your matter replicators. So that's a decent candidate for terraforming actually. So I think I'll do that. Colony ship, move to Regulus. So a colony ship up here says avoid. So that's orders that you can give them to avoid, engage, scrap. If there's once it arrives into that space, I'll have the options to terraform. Once there's a planet that's being terraformed, I'll have the option to colonize. One of the options at the bottom there is enter a wormhole, which obviously I could use up there. So Regulus is luckily within the yellow scan range, so the colony ship's got no problems getting over there. Press turn again, or send science vessel to. So, combat occurring in Sector Rubicon. Federation ships, one fast attack. The Edo Guardian, I will hail.
Hailing frequencies have been opened. An alien culture has been discovered.
The Edo enjoy an idyllic existence, but their legal system is a high price to pay for their bliss.
Okay, so there we go. So, all hailing frequencies open, that's fine. So the Edo Guardian seems to have disappeared from from the square. Actually, that's a bit strange. Yeah, now that you mention it, like when I've had the Edo on my side, they don't seem to get the Guardian as well. But I will send them. They're receptive as well. You see, I'll send them a friendship request, and I'll actually use a trade route. You see, so now it turns, click on the trade route, click on Caledonia, now it turns green. I'll get some credits starting next turn off of that. So I've got 2 more planets here that I can check out with my science vessel. You also get spatial anomalies. So this is an X-ray pulsar. You get neutron stars, you get black holes that might damage your ship. So colony ship I will order to terraform.
Select planet for terraforming.
I'll just do the small Arctic one first. And science vessel can check out this yellow star here. So that's Relva, uninhabited. That's a decent size looking. So 85, 125, 205, 240, 320. So that's a decent sized system as well for terraforming and colonizing. So you can see the difference between playing with minor races and just having no minor races at all is that, you know, you got to think about colonizing planets rather than to just, because if these guys join me, the Caledonians and the Rubicans at the Edo, you know, that's like 2 planets right there straight off the bat that I could have. Check out that little green thing down there. So the shape of the galaxy that I picked, I chose spiral, so basically it means that these planets, once you discover more of the space, it'll become more apparent, but the sun, the stars will actually be set out in a spiral shape, but it's not apparent right now. So let's just go in next turn.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Okay, so there's the Edo accepting my friendship proposal. I go back into economic, I will send them a trade route as well. So with the trade routes established, I think they'll gradually gain sort of favour with us. If we go to active, Caledonians are sort of 1 bar ahead of the Edo at the moment. So like I was saying, because I'm not really going to push these guys to join me as soon as I can, I'm actually going to get rid of that trade route. There we go. Overlay. Because obviously I want them to develop their planet before they decide to join the Federation. So there, so that's 115, 145, so like 300 plus, or close to 300 plus. Probably a good size for terraforming in my opinion. And I'll check out that red giant there. So quickly looking at Sol system, still building the matter replicators. We've got 4 troop transports that I'll use to build outposts. It's gone back up. It's now full population, so that plus 22 food is actually wasted. Put a mouse over there. But I can't take anyone off food production at the moment. Do I check on my science? It's already 41% through the construction tech.
Terraforming completed.
Okay, so obviously the smaller the planet, quicker it is to terraform.
Select planet for terraforming.
These larger guys will take a bit longer. We've discovered Regula, so 95, 165, 250, 270, decent. Send my ship up north. So I can't move my science vessel to look at this planet yet, because the scan range isn't far enough. I'll just continue to have a look around the edges of my space with my science vessel. So 1, 2, 3, let's have a look at this guy. So the science vessel's got a bit of a scanner on it, which should be able to identify if there's any ships in that space, and with the tooltips off you'll be able to work out, like once you've played the game, familiar with the races, you'll be able to identify who it is that you're going to come across and how you should what you should do. So, oh there we go, look at that. That's a planet with dilithium. It's already got a terraformed an M-class planet that's habitable. So 165, 245, 280. That's good population. Basically, because the planet's got dilithium, I'd be going for it anyway. So that's good. Get an outpost. So the troop transport's going to go to the yellow border. So might need 2 troop transports in order to get the scan range, the yellow scan range, so the colony ship can get over there. Might need 2 troop transports. So the Sol System's onto building the troop transports. Now I could buy them. Buy troop transport for 1,030 credits. Yeah.
Purchase ordered.
I'm not really needing my money for anything right now.
An alien culture has been discovered.
The Celae are not as advanced as they would have us believe. An important first step would be a resolution of their conflict with the Antikins.
Okay, so this an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation that's referencing is that these 2 races basically hate each other, the Celae and the Antikins. So the Celae system, do they get ship? They've got dilithium present, but I can't remember if they have ships of their own or not. But let's propose a friendship. So they're currently neutral. So the Caledonians and the Edo were receptive. They were a little bit more friendly when I first encountered them. So the Celae might reject that, unless if I don't offer any credits with it. But you might as well try without any cash in the first attempt. Oh. So there we go. So Type 3 mass replicator bunker network. Try and decide. Let's have a think. What about the troop transport 2? No, it's miles away. Light cruiser, energy 3, weapons 3. Yeah, let's go for the light cruiser. Science vessel still just having a little explore. We've got troop transport built now. So Relva is a decent planet. Tarsus is one that we want. I'm going to build my troop transport here.
Terraforming completed. Diplomatic messages have been received.
Yep, so there they go. They rejected that friendship proposal. So I'm going to try again. A bit of money. And terraforming was finished.
Select planet for terraforming.
Okay, here's another planet to investigate. So I'm not sure how long I'll really sort of keep playing this. Hopefully get into some sort of combat and show you that side of things.
An alien culture has been discovered.
The Andorians have a bloody past, but desire a more peaceful future, much like mankind.
There we go. So the Andorians don't have any dilithium. I thought they would have. But never mind. So that's another minor race. So let's just move into this nebula here. Try sending them a friendship request. So obviously with only 2 yeah, so the Caledonians are like a full 3 bars ahead of the Andorians. So having the trading will improve relationships over a period of time as well. So I'm going to build an outpost here with my troop transport.
An outpost will be constructed.
And just continue
An
exploring.
alien
Here we
culture
go.
has been discovered.
Greetings from the Romulan Star Empire. While we do not object to occasional diplomacy and commerce, we prefer to mind our own affairs. If you honor this desire, we will remain amicable neighbors.
Alright, okay.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Okay, so the Celae rejected that offer of cash with the friendship request. What I could start doing... It's a lot of space. What I could start doing is sending them gifts of money. and and then sort of get the relationship a bit better before I then start asking them to be friends. So the Andorians would be good to have, and they're right next to Romulan space. So what I might do, I've sent, I should probably send them a, oh, the Andorians are friendly with the Romulans, you see. I'm going to send them a friendship request with some cash.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Right, well, I'd offer them one with no cash. They're instantly getting one with a bit of cash incentive added in. So hopefully this isn't a bit too boring with the no music. It's just that it was a bit loud and not so sure about copywriting and things like that, even though I don't monetize. I'm sure it would have been fine. But it is, you know, it's the authentic Star Trek theme that sort of plays. Right, so it might be an idea if I go to Sol system to just maybe, you know, I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but let's just build a few destroyers.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
There we go. So they enjoyed that, and what I might do is take that off Rubicon and actually give it to Andor. I think that might be an idea. So the Ferengi get more more trade routes to play with. So they can, you know, have trade routes with a lot of people. They can also just buy their affection as well.
Outpost constructed. Terraforming completed. Diplomatic messages have been received.
Wow. Right, so Romulans made a statement and they offered a non-aggression proposal. Let's have a look. Events. Statement. Your expansion has nearly reached our borders. Be careful lest you exceed your grasp. Yeah. Non-aggression pact for 25 turns. Accept.
Treaty will be accepted.
So the Andorians are receptive. So it's maybe a reference to the Andorians becoming friends with me there. So that's that outpost finished as well. So it's expanded the range. Look at that. So this ship I'll actually start sending back over here to have a look at these planets. Tarsus isn't quite within range, so I'm going to build another troop transport there. And terraforming is finished as well, so orders terraform.
Select planet for terraforming.
There we go, peace signed with the Romulans. So if I go into summary, you can see here our treaty with the Romulans has quelled the fears of many concerned citizens. So another thing that they've tried to do in order to make each empire distinct is the public response to certain things in the game. So the Federation are peaceful. They don't like going to war. They don't like bombarding planets, etc., etc. You know, they like the fact that we have peace treaties. They don't like the fact that treaties are broken. The Klingons don't care at all who you go to war with and what you do when you're at war with someone. Neither do the Romulans, really, or the Cardassians, and I think the Ferengi just don't care as long as they get money out of it. Okay, there we go, so that's energy done. So we've got an orbital batteries now out of that. So weapons 3 to get the light cruisers. So if I go to intelligence screen now, management, now we see we've got the agent, the Romulan actions that we can do there. So I could take intel security down, use that to boost espionage or sabotage, but our intel strength is 0, and obviously that weakens our internal security. So it might be an idea for me to maybe start thinking about boosting intelligence in some form. So we've got excess energy actually, so we'll put some points into intelligence there. And I wonder if it might be an idea to build an outpost in the Sol system, just give it some defences.
An outpost will be constructed.
Oh, okay, so that's the other... Well, what the hell? How did they manage that? So that's the other way in which you can get minor races on your side, is if you just declare war on them. So the Andorians are going to get invaded here. That's annoying. Nothing I can really do about that. Shoot. Let's give some cash to the Rubicons again. That's a bit annoying. Oh, it's going to look like I'm just turning my back on them a little bit here. I'm going to offer the Sealy a gift. See if that improves things. And build my troop transport there.
An outpost will be constructed. Outpost constructed. Diplomatic messages have been received.
Okay, so what are the Andorians saying? We invite you to declare war on the Romulans on our behalf, while I have no warships whatsoever. So you can see that my Federation space has expanded with building that outpost, those squares. Oh, and building the outpost in the Sol system. It's expanded in my territory to those squares around it. Not including Caledonia, obviously, because they're independent. They still haven't terraformed their systems yet. So my science vessel is back over here. I'm going to investigate these planets. Next turn. And that's my last troop transport built.
An alien culture has been discovered.
The Zakdorn talent for strategy cannot be overstated. Their genius could be a great boon to our officer training programs.
So the Zakdorn, if you're familiar with Next Generation, are strategy geniuses supposedly. So I think their unique building boosts ship experience, I think. But they are uncooperative. So they're not big fans of the Federation. But let's give the Sealy another gift.
Outpost constructed.
Okay, so that's outpost finished. So now you can see that Sealy and Tarsus are well within the green zone there, so I could send ships, a colony ship over to terraform and then colonize Tarsus. So I might actually, once this planet's been terraformed, I might actually just send this colony ship over to terraform the rest of this planet, this system, and then inhabit it, colonize it. And we've got Arcanus here, so yeah, that's not going to be decent, like enough. Doesn't suit. Right, let's have a look at this planet.
An alien culture has been discovered.
Malcorian society suffers from xenophobic tendencies, but technologically they are nearly capable of warp travel.
Terraforming completed.
So yet another alien race, so the Malcorians. So the vast majority of these guys will start off, on a decent footing with the Federation. So there's the Sealy receptive now, after sending them all that money. Send them a friendship proposal. Might as well send the Malcorians one as well. Zakdorn won't listen. Right. Oh man, lots of planets to check out here.
An alien culture has been discovered.
The Bajoran Jalanda Forum is a model of open discourse, which can only improve relations between Federation members.
So there's the Bajorans, so they start off.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Ah, there we go. So there's the Caledonians offering me an affiliation proposal, because the relationships have gotten high enough. So that's interesting. So let's have a quick look at Bajor. So Bajor's got dilithium on it as well. The Bajorans do produce starships. Let's check out this planet up north. It's probably too early in the game for all the. So that's the Caledonians. There's the Caledonians. They've colonized more planets in their system. Go to diplomacy. I will accept
Treaty
that
will be accepted.
treaty. So, being affiliated also sort of means that it's more or less, they're more or less protected against interference from other empires now at this stage. If I go to summary and relationships here. So the Edo, Caledonians, Andorians are all friendly with me. Everyone else is neutral. Got no information on the Romulan side of things. So I offered friendship to the Malkorians and the Sealay. I will offer a friendship to the Bajorans as well. And check out these planets. Sol system is just churning out destroyers there. I can upgrade the mass replicator now to the Type 3. It takes 20 turns. They'll get an extra plus 100 industry. Upgrade 20 Type 3 type. 20 Type 2 to 20 Type 3 will be plus 100 industry, so I will do that after I've finished building my destroyers. And let's send this colony ship to Tarsus. I could actually send that colony ship to Rubicon and actually terraform that system for them, like before they've joined my my Federation. I'd be interested in finding out where that wormhole went to, if anywhere. Like if it doesn't go anywhere, I just lost the ship.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Okay, so the Malkorians and the Sealay have accepted those proposals. Because I think it's pretty much a done deal with the Caledonians, I will use that trade route on the Sealay. They've already got 155 population. Interesting stuff. Right, so Quadra Sigma, that's decent. 80, 135, ooh, 245. 310, 375. That's a good population potential in that system. I might in fact send troop transport over there. Build a transport over an outpost over Arcanus. Right. So Quadra Sigma.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Bajorans rejected a friendship proposal from the Federation. Oh, okay, so here we go. Here's 3 unknown ships in that system. They are Iridians. Okay, so I can't remember how they'll react to the Federation or not once I get in there. I'm actually considering that maybe this might be a place to stop it, because this video is actually just going to just end up me playing this game for hours. Shima couldn't really... well, actually, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to save. It always saves.
Selection confirmed. Saving.
Right, so I'm going to send my ship into that space, and then we'll have a look at the combat. Because I think you kind of like get the idea of how it works. If you can find this game somehow, somewhere, I highly recommend picking it up and playing it. It's got some very interesting ideas for... oh, there's my destroyer. Very interesting ideas for really quite an old game now, and no one's really done a game like this since. I mean, you can sort of look at games like Stellaris, and there are quite a lot of mods for Stellaris that would make it more Star Trek. But you don't like wonder why they don't make it themselves. But anyway, so science vessel is going to go into there. It's going to get destroyed. But if I go to fight, okay. So this is the combat system. So if I hover over the Giridian ships, oh shoot, I need to charge.
Understood. Torpedoes locked.
Okay. Okay, so yeah. I only had 15 seconds to react there. So basically, you can see that it says orders assault or orders circle. Yeah, I only really know that because scanning abilities of the scout ship. But basically, you have to pick orders for each ship. And,
A task force has been destroyed. An alien culture has been discovered.
The Iridians survive by selling secret information. We must be extremely cautious and circumspect in dealing with them.
Okay, yeah, right. So, apologies for that. Didn't have enough time. So basically, that was a very, very quick overview of the combat system. So so basically you have to give orders to your ships. You don't like control them directly. And if you have enough sort of scan strength, you can work out what orders, and there's orders that like complement each other or will counteract other orders and things like that. So the combat system can, it's a bit sort of murky combat system, which is one of the reasons why the Romulans are easy mode, because obviously if you've got that free first attack, you just charge in. They can't do anything about it, so you just charge in. So that's why I sort of regard the Romulans as being a bit on the easy side. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and it's been an interesting look at sort of like a lesser known but very popular amongst its fans Star Trek strategy game. Okay, so feel free to leave any comments, feel free to like and subscribe if you so wish. So thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you later.